All right, guys, we are back. I am sorry that I can't stream this on my phone, so I can't show my face. All right, but you can't hear me. I'm streaming this on my old iPad, and because it literally won't update to the latest version of the bracket app, because I wanted to stream it on my phone so you guys can actually see my face making these picks, but we're gonna have to make do with what we've got. So yeah, sorry that you can't see my face. But that's just how it's going to have to go. All right, guys, it is time. The bracket is here, and it's time for me to make my picks today. All right, I'm excited for this. I've already made a bracket, obviously, but this could be my YouTube bracket. I might sprinkle in some different picks than my other bracket, but I really do like this March Madness bracket. Some really, really good matchups to watch out for that I think will be incredible matchups. And I think it'll be an incredible tournament as usual. Um, but here we go, guys. Starting out in the South region, we've got Auburn going up against the 16 seed, obviously going with Auburn. Louisville Creighton, I am going Louisville. I really like this Louisville team. I'm very high on Louisville. Don't know how they're an 8 seed, um, as they were, I believe, ranked like 15th or 16th, finished the season. So 8 seed way too low for them. They're definitely a sneaky 8 seed to watch out for. Michigan going up against UC San Diego. I really like UC San Diego in this matchup, as this is the popular pick right now. And when it comes to popular picks, the popular pick doesn't tend to happen. It tends to be somebody you don't even, you know, see coming when it comes to an upset. But Yale taking on Texas A&M in a 13-4 matchup. This is a really, really tough matchup for Texas A&M. Yale is a gritty team. They've been in the tournament a lot. Year in and year out, they produce a very, very talented team. Just a team built on grittiness, and they will find ways to make it close. So, with that being said, I am going Texas A&M, but that is a game to watch out for. And then Ole Miss playing the winner of San Diego State, North Carolina. I think North Carolina will beat San Diego State, which sets up a North Carolina Ole Miss matchup. And I think Ole Miss would beat North Carolina in that 6-11 matchup. Next, we got Iowa State and Lipscomb. I've got Iowa State in that matchup. 7 seed Marquette taking on 10 seed New Mexico. I kind of like. Shoot, who do I like in that matchup? Man, I'm gonna go New Mexico here. I'm gonna go New Mexico, and then Michigan State Bryant to wrap up the first round of the South region. Michigan State, and then we go to the West region. Florida taking on 16 seed Norfolk State. Gonna go with the Gators here, and then you've got UConn and OU going out in that 8-9 matchup, the defending national champions. Going to go with the Huskies. Definitely a sneaky 8 seed to watch out for. Memphis and Colorado State. Going to be going with Colorado State and winning the win here in the 12-5 matchup. 12-5 matchups are always fun to watch. Grand Canyon 13 seed taking on 4 seed Maryland. Going to go with the Maryland Terrapins. But watch out for Grand Canyon in that matchup. I think it ends up being pretty close. Missouri and Drake in that 6-11 matchup. I'm going with Drake. And it's not just because I'm a KU fan. Drake is a very, very tough team. And shoot, even if KU was playing Drake, I would probably pick Drake because Drake is a tough team out of that Missouri Valley Conference. Texas Tech taking on UNC Wilmington in the 3-14. Got Texas Tech. And the Kansas Jayhawks taking on Arkansas. I think it's going to be a toss-up game. I think it can go either way. I think it's going to come down to the wire, but I do have my Jayhawks winning at least one game in this tournament. And then St. John's will beat their 15 seed. Hey, we go to the East region now. Duke obviously going to beat their 16 seed. And then we go to the 8-9 matchup, Mississippi State and Baylor. I like Baylor in this matchup. A little bit of Big 12 bias, I know. Oregon taking on Liberty. I think I like Liberty in this matchup, actually. No. Yeah, I do like Liberty in this matchup. I think I picked 12 seed 3 times so far, but I really like the 12 seeds. Their matchups are really favorable this year. And 12-5 matchups are always difficult to pick. And then Akron, Arizona. Now, Akron is right now kind of a popular upset pick from what I've seen. I'm gonna go with Akron. I really do like Akron in this matchup. I think they're the team to pull off a higher upset. And I don't know. I just like Akron in this matchup. Trying to sprinkle in some upsets here and there, Wouldn't be realistic without that. So VCU taking on BYU. I like BYU in this matchup. VCU, a pretty good defensive team, but I do like the Cougars to bounce back from that Big 12 semifinals game against Houston and get a good win there. Wisconsin against Montana. I like Wisconsin. And then St. Mary's, Vandy. I like St. Mary's. St. Mary's a very good team. Alabama, Robert Morris, Alabama, of course. Then we go to the Midwest. Houston taking on their 16 seed. I like Houston. Gonzaga, Georgia, intriguing matchup in that 8-9 matchup. And I'm going to go with the Dogs. I think the Dogs will get a win here. Their first time in the NCAA tournament since I think like 2015. I like them to get a win there. And then we've got Clemson and McNeese State. And for the first time today, I'm picking a 5 seed over a 12. And then we got Purdue against High Point in a 4-13 matchup. Watch out for this one to potentially be close, but I think Purdue will get the win. And then Illinois taking on the winner of Texas and Xavier. And I do think Xavier is going to beat Texas, which would set up Illinois and Xavier in the first round. And I think Illinois will get the win. Kentucky and Troy. Now, this is a matchup that people need to be looking out for. Kentucky not playing their best basketball heading into the tournament. This is going to be a really close game, in my opinion. Come down to the wire type of game. And I've got Kentucky barely winning. UCLA taking on Utah State. I like the Bruins in that matchup. I'm going to go UCLA. Tennessee over Wofford. And we move on to the round of 32 where things get interesting. Louisville and Auburn, the 1-8 matchup. Oh, this is what I've been waiting for. Louisville is going to pull off that upset against the Auburn Tigers. And then you've got UC San Diego taking on Texas A&M. And I like UC San Diego to move on to the Sweet 16. They're my Cinderella team this year. And then we got Ole Miss against Iowa State. I like Iowa State in that matchup. New Mexico against Michigan State. I think New Mexico will give them trouble, but I think Michigan State will ultimately pull away. Florida taking on UConn, the reigning national champions, in a 1-8 matchup. Going to be a close game, in my opinion, but Florida will eke out the win. Colorado State, another one. I think they will be upset Maryland there in the second round. So Colorado State going to get to the Sweet 16. Drake taking on Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech in that matchup. And then Kansas taking on St. John's. Now, my Kansas bias has got to end here. I only see us winning one game, if that, in the tournament. So I think St. John's will get the win. I just think it would be a tough, very, very tough W to get. I think the Jayhawks could be a 7 seed to give them a run for their money, but ultimately St. John's playing really good basketball right now. Duke taking on Baylor. I like Duke in that matchup. Akron taking on Liberty. I like Liberty in that matchup. And then BYU and Wisconsin. I like the Cougars in that matchup. I think BYU makes a little run here in the tournament. And St. Mary's and Bama. And I got St. Mary's upsetting Alabama. I really am high on this St. Mary's team. And Houston, Georgia, I got Houston. They'll be too much for Georgia. Clemson and Purdue, I got Clemson. Illinois, Kentucky. I've got Illinois and Tennessee, UCLA. I've got Tennessee on to the Sweet 16. I've got Louisville taking on UC San Diego, and sadly, the Cinderella run ends here for UC San Diego as Louisville will advance to the Elite Eight. And Iowa State and Michigan State, and I've got Iowa State, Florida, Colorado State. I've got Florida, St. John's, and Texas Tech. I've got Texas Tech. Duke and Liberty. I've got Duke. BYU and St. Mary's. I've got BYU. Houston, Clemson. I've got Houston. Illinois, Tennessee. I've got Tennessee. On to the Elite Eight. Louisville and Iowa State. I've got Iowa State. Florida, Texas Tech. I've got the Gators. Duke, BYU. I've got Duke. And Houston, Tennessee. I've got Tennessee. So on to the Final Four, which is Iowa State versus Florida and Duke versus Tennessee. And it is going to be Florida advancing to the national championship and Duke advancing to the national championship. And that would leave Duke and Florida for the national championship. And ultimately, I think the Gators are going to get the national championship. They could go either way if it comes out like this, but I like the Gators in that one. I really do. But yeah, those are my March Madness picks for 2025. I know this is going to piss some people off. It always does. But thank you guys for tuning in. Might have another video later today. And anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.